It's obvious Yamaha had racing on its mind when it engineered its new YZF-R1. But what about for us guys who ride on the street? Yamaha finally has the answer with its more affordable YZF-R1S. Looking at the spec sheet, Yamaha didn't change a whole heck of a lot on this YZF-R1S. The biggest feature of this bike is just the reduced price. Instead of paying $16,500 for the standard R1, this thing comes out the door at 15 grand. $1,500 in your pocket's a lot of money. A lot of money for different accessories and modifying this bike to make it a little bit more streetable, so to say. Probably the biggest change on this bike is the switch from titanium connecting rods to the steel units. Now, Yamaha did this just to kind of get that price point a little bit lower. To compensate, the ECU had to be modified and the rev limiter actually lowered from 14,200 RPM to 12,200. Now what that means is this bike makes about 11 horsepower less than standard R1. 11 horsepower may seem like a lot, but when you're riding this thing on the street, you're really going to be hard pressed to tell the difference. Power still comes online really fast, really hard. The bike's geared really short. The transmission ratios are more close ratio. So this thing's always on the pipe. Like whenever you're twisting the throttle, no matter what gear you're on, it's always moving forward. It's a hoot to ride. Just that cross-plane crankshaft design that Yamaha invented back in 2009, it just gives the best of both worlds. It's got that top-end wailing rush of acceleration of a standard inline four, but that low-end grunt and that awesome guttural like V-twin experience. That's an exclusive feature to Yamaha with the cross-plane crankshaft, and only the R1 has it in the superbike class, and it's an awesome feature. Although this bike weighs 9 pounds more than the standard R1 due to its cast aluminum wheels and cast aluminum engine covers and stainless steel fasteners on the bike, you're not going to tell a difference. In the canyons, it handles like a dream. Yeah, when you're kind of commuting back and forth on the street or on the freeway, the suspension is jarring. It's got a real stiff chassis, but as soon as you get to your favorite back road, it's all going to be worth it. There, the bike handles like a dream. The chassis so planted, the suspension action so controlled. You can literally wail on this thing. You can ride this bike so hard, and it just won't bite you. And with it having all of its advanced electronics, the slide control, the traction control, ABS, wheelie control, all the standard electronics that the R1 standard bike has, and the R1M minus the electronically adjustable suspension, it has all those things, and it just allows you to ride the bike just absurdly hard. Even though this thing was designed for the street rider in mind, Yamaha didn't do too many mechanical changes. The seating position's still very aggressive. The power is a little bit hard hitting, especially when you have it in A mode, and it definitely is more of an aggressive street bike. If this thing was mine, I would do a couple changes to it. Probably the first thing I would do is I'd get a taller windscreen. I know Yamaha has a host of accessories within their catalog, including a windscreen, which would really kind of raise the comfort level on this bike. Another change I would make is I would fit a deeper seat. The seat, it's okay for 40, 50 miles, but 100 miles, tank of gas, gets a little uncomfortable. More firmly padded seat would be a big plus here. Another quick modification I would do, even though I love the aggressive nature of the ergonomics in the canyons or on the track, on the street it is a little bit much, especially with me with my old man knees. It would be cool if Yamaha brought back the adjustable foot pegs like it had on its predecessor, just so you can lower the foot pegs down a little bit. So when you're commuting 100 miles through traffic, your legs won't be so beat up when you arrive at your destination. Another change that you're gonna find yourself having to do immediately is just tires. The Bridgestone Batlax S20 is a great tire, but it's a little bit older now. Bridgestone has a new tire, the S21. As soon as these things wear out, I would definitely fit a little bit more high-performance rubber. Again, it's not to knock the OEM Bridgestone Batlax S20s. They are a good tire, but when you have something that's latest and greatest in the market, and a little bit better performance, it's always good to fit that when you have to replace something consumable like tires. Probably the last modification I would make is the brakes on this bike are really good, but they are a little bit prone to fade. You know, you could purchase a little bit of Maxima brake fluid, perhaps go to a little bit more aggressive centered brake pad, and you get a lot more bite and a little bit less fade through the lever when you're really jamming on the brakes, especially through twisty tarmac. But overall, for a $1,500 savings over the standard R1, I think this R1S would be the bike I would most likely buy in their lineup. Even though it has a little bit less power than the standard bike, you're gonna be really hard pressed to notice. The bike still wails, it sounds awesome. The extra heft, courtesy of the cast engine covers and wheels, it's not a make or break deal for me. You can't really notice that much, the extra weight in the canyons. For me, that extra $1,500 would just go a long way in tailoring this bike to set it up for me.